So you found some musicians and have some material you want to start putting together. This is an exciting time for your group, and the next steps you take will hugely shape your band sound and your approach as a leader.
Rehearsals give a group the chance to grow musically and build the kinds of relationships that are important to a band's longevity. However, they can often cause a ton of headaches, which is why what you do ahead of time is so crucial. Start by finding a space that works for everyone. If you're a small enough group playing in an acoustic setting, someone's apartment can work just fine, provided everyone can be comfortable, including the neighbors. That means maybe cleaning all the trash from the floor of your studio apartment.
If your group is 11 people deep and has a huge horn section, do not try and cram everyone into a space built for 5. Find a larger spot or ask yourself if you really need all 11 people.
Find the space before you contact your band. Don't schedule everyone and assume you'll find a place. Having a backup or two in mind is always a good idea. Are there amps, microphones? Will your drummer need to bring his own cymbals? What about music stands? Is there a way everyone can listen to the music as a group, like a PA or some monitors? Go a step further by having a checklist of the things you need and make sure they're accounted for.
One note about amps. Sure, bassists and guitarists have them, but we hate carrying them around, especially in places like New York City.
So it's okay as a last resort to ask someone to bring their rig, but try to avoid it, especially if they don't have a car. It is totally cool to ask someone to learn the material by ear, but if you're going to do that, keep some things in mind. Make sure whatever recording you provide is solid, which means it's definitely not a 45-minute recording of a rehearsal or uncut performance. Seriously, that happens. There are plenty of programs you can use to chop up recordings, from Logic or Pro Tools to simpler options like Audacity or even GarageBand.
If you're only performing a certain part of the piece, make a note of that. Only expect people to learn what they have to. If a piece in your set is really long or technically challenging, you may want to provide a chart for it.
Most of us have seen the Word doc with lyrics and chords written above them, but they probably won't get your music played the way you want. At bare minimum, a chart should have the chord changes placed accurately within the form. A basic lead sheet will also include the melody. Of course, you can get as detailed as you'd like with your notation. Handwritten charts are great if they're legible, but if you're planning to do this more often or have handwriting that is less than desirable, you may want to look into getting some notation software like Finale or Sibelius. Send an email that includes info, materials, and scheduling questions. I use needtomeet.com because it allows me to give several options for times and asks everyone to provide their availability for those times. This is about 10,000 times more efficient than having to constantly contact people to ask for their availability. One of the most important things you can do as a leader is respect your group's time. Only book as many practices as you actually need and try not to over-rehearse.
Also, try to schedule sane times, not 7 a.m. or midnight.
Doing everything you can ahead of time makes rehearsals a much smoother experience, allowing you to focus on the things that really matter, like getting to know everyone better and honing in on your group's sound.